Hello, hello, it's Julie Davison from juliedavison.com. Happy World Card Making Day. Today is Saturday, October 3rd at the time of filming this free class, and it is World Card Making Day, and Stampin' Up! Is following up World Card Making Day with World Card Sending Week. So today is the day to make all the cards, and next week we want you to send them to all the friends. Hopefully I'm in the right place. Yes, I am. I just had this moment of panic, like maybe I went live somewhere I wasn't supposed to. I don't know. Are you guys stamping today? Are you, it's kind of hard, I think, on a Saturday because we get busy doing other weekend things, but it's always fun to stamp every day of the week. But today is World Card Making Day, and I'm hoping you guys saw my message earlier and that you're ready to stamp along with me. Jimmy, can you turn off the fan in the bathroom, please? I have a fun card template that we're going to use. And so I'm going to walk you through stamping and creating 4 cards. You can make them all the same or you can make them different. It's up to you. But you are going to need, I'm trying to decide which of my own stacks to use. I think I'm going to use this one. So here is what you're going to need. I am missing a piece. What is this, water? Oh dear. You're going to need 3 sheets of 8.5 by 11 cardstock. I've got Pacific Point, that one's got something on it, and Balmy Blue. And then you're going to need 2 6x6 pieces of designer paper. And I chose this Snowflake Splendor designer paper. You might have different paper. Some of the other paper I pulled out to use were these 2 patterns. I love these. These is the, what is this one? Playing with patterns, playful patterns. So I might make up that one later. I have it pre-cut, so I'm not going to show it to you, but I'll bring it out later when we start stamping. Some pre-cut paper with the Whale of a Time. I love that one. So you're going to need 2 pieces of 6x6 paper, 2 pieces of one color for the card base, 1 sheet for the layering, and then you're going to want some punched shapes. It can be any shape. I'm just going to punch some really quick. So you'll need 4. A die cut label, a punch label. You might want to add some additional stamped images. So you might need some more cardstock to make your cards today. You might choose to add some ribbon or rhinestones or other embellishments. I know that you guys are going to dress up your cards when we're all done anyway. So it'll be fun to see what you guys create, and I hope that you'll share your cards in Julie's Stampin' Spot Share and Connect group. I'd love to see what you create. Do you guys all have your stuff? Are you ready to go? Susan says she's going off to another event. Thanks for stopping in to say hi, Susan. Absolutely, you can watch it on the replay. Oh, Jenny, I'm sorry that your back hurts today. Virtual hugs for you. Probably not doing a whole lot of stamping if you're sore, but Tony's been stamping since 8 a.m. and you've made 22 cards already. That is awesome. Thank you guys for sharing the video. I hope you're ready to get started. So you're going to need a paper cutter for this one. Whether you're watching live and doing it with me or watching the replay, it's no worries. I'm going to try to go slow enough that you can follow along. And if I do lose you, just pause the video if you're watching on the replay. So let's start with our card bases, because those are the easy pieces. I always like to score my cards when I make them because then it's easier to fold. So we're going to line our cardstock up at 4 1/4, and we're going to do a score line down the middle and then cut it at 5 1/2. So this is what you would normally do to start off when you're making cards. This is just a regular card base. And I like to make 2 cards at a time when I'm making cards, because you start by cutting the cardstock in half to make your card bases. So you already have the beginning for 2 cards. Today we're going to make 4 cards. So we're going to do the same thing again. We're going to score at 4 1/4 and then turn it and cut it at 5.5. So really basic today. I'm walking you through like basic prepping your cardstock. So those are our 4 card bases, 2 sheets of cardstock. Again, the color I'm using is Pacific Point. I was really having a hard time deciding on the colors to go with this designer paper. I think up against this, that Pacific Point really pops out. But I was struggling with the second pattern, and the second color, I mean, because I feel like it's not quite balmy blue. And I'm not sure like what color. I don't know, maybe navy. Let's throw a navy in here. I might like navy better with this paper. You know what? I think I do. Okay, so I'm going to switch my second color. But let's go ahead and cut it. So this is going to be the single color that you have. This is going to be for some layering. And so we're going to cut at 3¼ inches. And then we're going to turn and cut at 3/4 again. So we're going to do this 4 times. We need 4 pieces that are 3¼ by 3¼ inches. Okay, so you're going to cut 1, 2, 3, and then you're going to need to cut a piece from the other, oops, I did 3 inches on that. Whoopsie doodle, 3¼ by 3¼ So you're going to have 4 of those pieces, and the rest you can just set aside. We're not using on this card. Save them for another card. Do you guys, I'm sure you guys all keep your scraps. I organize my scraps into file folders. So I have a little file cabinet, just a 2-drawer over here in the corner of my stamp room, and I have my scraps sorted by color. So I try to go into my scraps and grab what I need, you know, if I'm cutting just a small piece or if I'm punching. So I try to use up those scraps. Sometimes I'm not always great. When I am stamping, I have this little bin. It doesn't fit under the camera very well. I just have this bin under my desk. So I toss my scraps in there, and then I file them. Although I find that like a lot of times I'm using the same colors, you know, in the same season. So I will just grab and look through the box that's right underneath my desk while I'm crafting. Okay, we did that. Now it's time to cut some of the designer paper. So again, this is 12 by 12 paper, but I cut it down to 6 by 6. So you can do these with any 6 by 6 paper as well. And I wanted to show you how to think and cut strategically, especially with 6 by 6. I think it's hard because you want to make the most of your paper and not have like a lot of scraps left over. So one cut that I really love doing with the 6 by 6 paper is the 3 by 3 square. So the next piece we're going to cut into 4 3 by 3 squares, and this is going to use every bit of that 6 by 6 paper so that there's none left over. Okay, so we're using a 6 by 6 paper. We're going to get 4 different cards, and 3 by 3 is the size that we're making. Hi, Nancy. You had to kick your husband off the computer. You told him you had a meeting. Did you bring your cardstock and paper so that you can make cards too, or are you just watching today, Nancy? I'm happy that you're joining me, everybody. Thank you so much for joining me today on World Cardmaking Day. I had a little party, a little workshop earlier today with some of my team members and their stamping friends, and so we did these projects. It was a lot of fun. And it was great to see the different paper that everybody chose. All right, I forgot to tell you now that you've cut it. It's not too late if you're watching the replay. But when I chose my designer paper, I picked one that was a little bit busier and one that was a little bit neutral. And you can decide which way you want to do it. I chose to make my busier paper the piece that's going to be the focal point. You might want to switch it around if you're going to add additional stamped images. You might wish to have your more neutral paper being the focal point so you could add your stamped images, but either way, it's going to work out great and it's going to be beautiful. All right, so the next piece we are going to cut is the other designer paper. And I will say that someone last time asked me if it is a horizontal or a vertical card, and it can be either way. So when you're cutting this paper, I intended with my card design that this would be a vertical piece, so you may want to cut accordingly. However, I did use it as a, I meant it to be a horizontal piece, but you can also use it as a vertical piece. If you have a pattern like mine, it doesn't really matter. You could go both ways with it. Okay, so first cut is going to be at 5.5 inches. And then we're going to set this little piece aside, and we're going to turn the cardstock or the designer paper, and we're going to cut at 1.5 inches. So this is another popular cut that I like to do with 6x6 because it is a way to cut and use that paper almost completely. So we have 4 pieces that are 5.5 inches by 1.5 inch. So you're gonna, that little piece, like I said, we'll use that on a different card later, not today, but I mean, just save it for later. But otherwise, we're using almost the entire paper. Okay, so the first thing I did, Eva, is I cut 5.5, I cut it at 5.5, so I cut this piece off. And then I turned it and I cut it at 1.5, 1.5, 1.5. Okay, so you're going to have 4 pieces that are 5.5 inches by 1.5 inch. Okay. You guys keeping up okay? I'm going to move my paper trimmer out because I'm done with it, and I'll leave this in if you're still cutting that piece. If you're ready to move on, the next part is to layer the 3x3 squares onto the cardstock, the cardstock layers. Okay, so this is 3.5 by 3 inches by 3 inches on the 3.25 by 3.25. And we're going to layer those up. This paper is so pretty. You may have tuned into Thursday Night Stamp Therapy and I showed some samples. I'm going to show some more. Oh, I'm going to show them again. It's the same cards I shared on Thursday, but this paper is so pretty. It deserves another look because it is gorgeous. So let me show you really quick. While you guys are gluing all your squares down, let me reach down into my box. Here is the Snowflake Splendor designer paper. This is a 12x12 paper. I cut it down to 6x6 just so that I could show you. It's really beautiful the way we have these watercolor kind of snowflakes and watercolor backgrounds, and we have just all kinds of blues here. So that's why I was saying it's kind of hard to choose colors because there's so many different blues. There's so many different ways to go. I just love this paper. A little Highland Heather in there too, and some purple posy. I love that one. That's got a lot of that. I should have picked that one for my card. That would have been pretty. I must not have had an extra piece of that. Let me show you some of the cards I've made. This is probably why I don't have an extra piece, because I made a bunch of these Z-fold cards, double Z-fold card, and I used that designer paper here. This card is by Tracy Jacobs, and she used a piece of the designer paper on the side. Here's one by Diana Gibbs. I love the way she colored the snowman and added just a little bit of shading there. This card is by Kay Kaltoff, and she used the background, the designer paper, and then added the dove. I just ordered this stamp set. partly because of Kay's card. I love the simplicity of this card. Here's one that I created. I stamped the first piece, but this is where the designer paper is. So just a really gorgeous bundle, a gorgeous suite to use. Here's one by Gwen Duckworth, and she used the pool party back here. So you can see there's just so many different combinations of blue that you can use. This one, it's Jenny's card, Jenny Miller, using a big piece, 4 inches by 5 1/4 for the background here. And then this is one that I created with the die cut, and then I embossed the sentiment inside it. And this is by Meg Lovin. She die cut a snowflake. My camera all of a sudden looks funny. I don't know. It just got dark on me. I don't know why. I think I can still see, but it looks shaded. Okay. Susan says, at some point I'm going to need a tip or two to get the Stampin' Seal to work better. It always rolls back on itself and I have to restart it. Susan, I am having the same problem, though I have to say it's getting better. The more I use it, the more I'm getting used to it. So I'll show you when I glue the next piece on, and maybe my tips will help you out. This card by Meg Lovin, and then the last one here is by Laura Burkett. So lots of ways that you can use that Snowflake Splendor designer paper, and so many different patterns to choose from. So this is the paper that I'm featuring and highlighting today with my cards. I am sure you guys are all using different papers, and I can't wait to see what you're creating. Let's go ahead and move on with our cards. So we have all of our squares layered. The next step is going to be with the designer paper, and so I'm going to flip it over. And so here is the Stampin' Seal, and if you're not familiar, this is Stampin' Up's newest adhesive, and it has a cartridge just similar to the old one, and it fits in here so you can replace the cartridge. It's refillable. And what happens sometimes is when you are, see, like right here, it's not sticking because it has torn off in here. So I'm going to just use my finger to advance it a little bit, and there you can see the sticky. And so here's the thing about this adhesive. You can see as I'm pulling it up, it's very stringy. So if you are not careful when you break it off, you can cause it to sort of string and snap. So let me try it again and see if I can show you. See how if you don't break that, it's just gonna like pull, and then it doesn't break evenly, and so then it's not catching, so you have to advance it again. So you want to make sure that you're breaking the adhesive, and it doesn't require that much effort. So it sounds like, you know, like, oh, that sounds really hard, but the deal is you just sort of have to like tilt it, oops, just gently tilt it. It doesn't have to be a check mark. It doesn't have to be anything crazy. You just want to like tilt it forward. Oh, see, I didn't do it quite there. Tilt it to break that, that line of adhesive. So like the check mark breaks it even, or like tilting it back and then lifting up. Does that make sense? Have you tried that, Susan? Like tilt it back, and it definitely takes a touch. And once you get the hang of it, once you get the hang of using it, then it is not so hard. But I think there is definitely a learning curve, and that can be frustrating. So if you find that you don't have the patience for it and it's not working for you, then one adhesive that I recommend is the multi-purpose liquid adhesive. And this is a liquid adhesive, so it's a little bit different, but it sticks really, really, really well, and it's a lot easier to apply and to move around because it's liquid, so you can just kind of like slide it to be straight where you want it to go. Okay, what color of blue is your card base? Robin, I am using Pacific Point for my card base. So this is in the Brights color family. And I picked this color because there is some Pacific Point in the in this designer paper, which kind of shines through when I put it up next to it. So you can kind of see what we're doing here. We're going to put our 1.5 inch strips of designer paper toward the bottom. I'm going about 1 inch from the bottom edge. Now this is for a horizontal card. If you are wanting to make your card be vertical, then you probably want to stick your designer paper closer to the fold. So for this one, I'll go vertical, and I'm going to do 1 inch or so from the fold of the designer paper, or of the cardstock. So I'll go 2 and 2 here. Oh, good. I'm glad that helped. I hope that it works for you, Susan. But I really think it's just like, it just takes getting used to. And if you're just aware of what is causing, you know, that, then you feel a little more comfortable, like, correcting it, right? So, like, sometimes I do end up, you know, having it pull and gum down. And so I know I can just move it forward a little bit when I have that problem, but it is kind of frustrating. The other one, the Seal Plus, is a more heavy duty adhesive, but it also does not have the stringiness. Let me show you here on a post-it note, and I think you'll be able to see the difference with this adhesive. So here's the Stampin' Seal. And that was not a good break at all. And you can see that it's just a light layer of adhesive. This one has like these little sections, and so when you break it off, it's breaking off at the section. So I find that it's easier to apply because it does have a natural breaking point built into it, and it is it's a heavier, a stronger adhesive. This one is good, and I find it's fine for cards. This one is ideal for like lots of layers or pieces that move, or even 3D projects. The Stampin' Seal Plus is going to be a good option for you. So you might find that you have more success with the Stampin' Seal Plus, and that's why, because it has the built-in breaking point, that makes it easier to break off and keep where it's supposed to be. Okay, so we've got our card bases with our designer paper strips. The next piece we're going to do is we're going to layer that square on there. So let's go ahead and put some adhesive. I'm just using this Stampin' Seal. I'm going to save my dimensionals for the next layer. If you love dimensionals, you can add dimensionals at this point too. There's no wrong time to put dimensionals on your card. So for the vertical ones, I'm going at the top, and Jenny, close your eyes because I'm going wonky. Oh, I'm sorry, girl. I just like having it a little off center. If you want to go straight, you can. I think it just adds a little movement to the card to have it be off a little bit. And then for the ones that are horizontal, I'm going to go on the right side. I feel like I just cursed myself with this one. This is a really easy layout that will work with any designer paper and any color combination, and it's great for any occasion. So here is sort of the basic card layout, and then I've got the punches. So you can add a simple sentiment, you can stamp and add some additional images if you want. I brought out my Snowflake Wishes stamp set, and this is the one that goes with the designer paper. This is kind of a double set. You have so many different stamps to choose from. So I am going to do, let's see, will this one fit? Our friendship is one of a kind. It's kind of tight, isn't it? May your season sparkle. Let's see if this one fits my label. I can always cut a different label if I need to. This was just a quick punch out. I'm going to use some navy. Let's get out Pacific Points. I got 3 different blues here. Does it fit? Ugh, no. No, it does not fit. How about a circle? Nope. Kind of. Oh, I got a little ink on me. I think I'm going to switch to a different sentiment. Okay, where are you guys in the world? Are you somewhere where it's already snowing? I heard that it was snowing up in Wisconsin already, and we have not had snow down here in Illinois, though it has gotten chilly. I talked about it being sweater weather, and someone commented about being where it's still 100 degrees. So some of you may still be far off and almost never get snow. Let's see. I'm going to do 2 inches on this. 80 degrees in Spokane. Is it always this warm in October? I'm not very good about my geography sometimes with the weather. Rebecca's down in Florida. Thanks for sharing, Linda. How is the weather in Virginia? Is it warm? Is it cold where you guys are? I think I like this. This is a 2-inch circle punch. And that is the right shape and the right size, I think, for what we're making today. So I'm going to do 2 more circles. 66 in Maryland. Yeah, 35 this morning, Sharon. I'm not sure what it was here this morning. I slept in until 9 or 9:30. I stayed up too late. I am a night owl. And last night I put on a movie and I was doing some work, and it was almost 3 o'clock before I went to bed. Let's see. I'm not sure if Pacific Point is going to be too dark, but I want to add some snowflakes. I think it is going to be too dark. Let's stick with the balmy blue. And I did think about stamping. Maybe we'll stamp and die cut. Is that going to be too busy? We'll take a look. But for right now, let's add the little snowflakes. These are cute. This was one of the first stamp sets that I got from the catalog because I love the paper. All right, I did 3 there, but I think that is too much. I'm going to try to do like a diagonal pair of them. That's better. I might redo the one. That adds just a little. Thanks so much. Let's restamp the words. Are you guys stamping along? Are you making your cards? Have you stamped your sentiments? You may choose to add, like I said, you may choose to add some ribbon and sequins. I think I have some blue backed gems. You know what? I'm going to skip the die cut, but I'm going to reach for the ribbon. I think we could do like we're going to do at least one of them. This is the Snowflake Splendor iridescent ribbon. That's part of the Snowflake Splendor suite. Oh, I like that. I think I need a little bit more though. Maybe sponge the circle edge with Night of Navy. Wow, Linda, you've made 83 cards so far. I am not a big sponger. I don't love sponging. It's just as a sponging around the edges, I always I find does not go well with my clean and simple style. Like I can never get it to look just right, and I'm just not a big fan. But I'm going to put some ribbon back there, and I'm keeping the ribbon tucked down with the Stampin Dimensionals, and then we can add some I'm going to try some blue. Jenny says she's cutting brushed metal cardstock and designer paper. Ooh, that's going to be pretty. So you can make them all different. You can do some that have ribbon. You can do some that have, I feel like I want to do a die cut. Let me get out a piece of paper. And I want to do a die cut with a Pacific Point. All right, which stamp goes with that one? So the dies that go with this have some dies that cut out the stamps and also some detailed images as well. This is a really pretty set of dies. Now this stamp is meant to have sort of this like watercolor look, and it doesn't stamp completely solid. So when you see like these edges, it's supposed to be like that. It's normal. So we're going to just take that out, and we're going to line it up and send it through the Big Shot. I've got mine, not Big Shot, the Stampin' Cut and Emboss machine. It's going to take a little while to get used to saying that. Let me just pull it up here really quick. I love my Boss. It's hard on camera to have everything on my table, but it is sized really nicely to be on the table. I'm using the new magnetic platform to keep it where I want it to go. So I'm going to have the platform, the thin die adapter, and then the magnetic cutting plate takes the place of one of the plastic cutting plates. So you're going to cut right on it, and then the plastic cutting plate goes on top, and we just send that through. So smooth. I was just saying earlier today, one of the reasons I think it goes through so smoothly is that there is extra space here. The platform is smaller than the space. You can see a little bit here. It's smaller than the space, so there's plenty of room for it to go through, where I feel like with my Big Shot, that's not the case. And so sometimes I feel like I'm trying to shove it through and it doesn't want to go through. So that is definitely an advantage to the Stampin' Cut and Emboss machine, that it doesn't force your your sandwich through. All right, so here I'm just going to add just a single stamped snowflake, and I'm going to put this on with a dimensional feel like it needs some supporting. It needs some supporting dimensionals. I'm going to add those here. Do you guys send a lot of Christmas cards? Have you guys started your Christmas card making? I feel like now that it's October, it feels more appropriate to be thinking about Christmas and doing Christmas stuff. It just felt so early to me in September. But I know some of you have already finished all of your Christmas cards. So that's really awesome. That's definitely not me, but if that is you, then more power to you. Lynn says she sends about 70. Sharon's already gotten started. I think on this card, I'm going to use these adhesive backed sequins. These are snowflakes. These are really pretty, and I love that they have adhesive on them already. So there's two. Like one is sort of almost opaque and iridescent, and the other is more shiny iridescent. Can you tell the difference? I'm going to use the shiny opaque ones. Tony says she usually does 100 to 125 each year, and you do them all over Thanksgiving. That is a lot to do in one weekend, but that's awesome. So it probably feels like it's a little too soon for you then, Tony, if you don't get started until Thanksgiving weekend. All right, I did 5 of the little snowflake sequins. You always want to do an odd number. So far I'm changing these cards up a little bit. I'm not doing them exactly the same, and you can make your cards, you can customize them and do them however you want. We've got 2 more cards to make up here, and I just realized one of those circles is bigger than the other. That was unintentional, but not a bad thing. Maybe you could go either way. So one of them is 2 inches and one of them is 2 1/4 inches. Do some ribbon here. I like this longer piece. It goes straight across the card. Strategically placing my, oh my gosh, I got too many on here, to cover up the ribbon. Tear and tape is also a good way to cover the ribbon and keep it on there. Karen, you do a monthly card for your family. Just sent the Sunflower cards for October, or you sent them in September. October is Halloween. That's really cool, like a card of the month. So not just once a year at Christmas time, but a card every month to let them know you're thinking about them. I love that so much. Sometimes I feel like it's just hard enough to keep up with the regular stuff like birthdays. But that is definitely a goal of mine, is to send more all occasion cards to my family and friends. Okay, so I have to ask you guys, when you are crafting, do you do like I'm doing, and do you customize each card even if they start out the same, or do you like to make completely different cards or the same cards? So are you a same card person or a different card person? I know sometimes people like to keep their cards custom and they don't make 2 cards that are the same ever. I'm a multiple card stamper. Like, I'll make cards that are all the same, because the people who are getting them don't know, right, what the other people are getting. So they don't know that somebody else got exactly the same card. I think it's efficient to stamp the same card, but it's more fun to stamp some variety to your cards. So I guess it maybe depends on your goal a little bit. Yeah, Catherine's talking about doing production stamping for Christmas cards. So she says it's not hard to stamp out 100 cards when you do the same layout for all of them. Yep, and assembly goes pretty quickly. But if you are, you know, customizing them, they definitely are going to take a little bit longer. But yeah, not all the same. 100 cards that are all the same, I think definitely would get boring. Maybe, you know, several different designs and doing, you know, 20 of this one and 20 of that one. I feel like we need a little more bling up here. I'm gonna do some of these snowflakes. I think these snowflakes are really small, and so it's easy to add like more than just 3. Okay, so we've got, even though I use the same paper and the same basic layout, the cards are all a little bit different. Do you want to see some other cards that I made with this layout? This morning during the card party that I had with my team and their customers, I used some Poinsettia Place designer paper, and I made 2 cards with the mousse, and then I did 2 without the mousse. I made the 2 without the mousse first, and then I was like, gosh, it needs something, and the mousse just was the perfect thing to add. So this was Poinsettia Place designer paper, and then the Merry Mousse, and I used one of my favorite stamp sets for the words. If you need a good greeting set, this is a really good one. Peaceful Moments has kind of lots of different bases covered. It's got birthday, sympathy, thank you, congratulations, thinking of you with all my heart. So this is a really good one. That's where the thank you came that I used on the mousse card. But same layout, really easy way to use up your 6x6 designer paper. I said that I used the whales, so I'm going to show you those. I added some sequins right before the live, so hopefully those are dry on here. But you guys know how much I love. So these are all the same. The sequins I did just a little bit different. And I was having some issues with the glue, like it was kind of getting everywhere. So I think you can go back after the glue dries and use an eraser and erase some of that like extra glue residue. Like it dries pretty clear, but you can still see it. So I gotta kind of go back and, oh, took the whole sequin off. Jeez. Oh my goodness. I'll have to go back and do a little rehab on my cards. But I love the way this turtle paper turned out. So cute. Okay, so same layout. We've got the whale done. We've got snowflakes. We've got mousse. And I have another pattern. Are you guys still stamping, or are you done with all your cards? I have one more pattern that's cut and ready to go. So I'm just going to go ahead and glue those on next to. You guys aren't doing anything, right? You ready to watch? That's it for the class. So if you don't want to watch me put together the last set, you certainly don't have to. So the paper that I'm using today, all the paper, the Poinsettia Place and the Whale of a Time and the Snowflake Splendor, these are all part of the designer paper sale in October. You can get 15% off all these papers. Sometimes in the past with the paper sales, you've had to like buy 3 and get 1 free. This time, it's just a straight 15% off every single one. So if you only want 1 paper, that's okay. Just get the one that you want and get the discount. So there's half of them are about half of them are from the mini catalog, and the other half are from the annual catalog. So there's something for everybody. I feel like you really can't go wrong with this designer paper sale. So this Whale of a Time paper is in there, and it is Such a fun paper. I'm going to do these cards really quick, and then I'll show you some more samples using the Whale of a Time paper. And these are all cards that I've shared before, so if you watch regularly, you've seen them all. But if you'd like a recap, I'm going to show them when I'm done with this card so you can see all the different ways to use the Whale of a Time designer paper, because this paper is 6x6 paper, and so that means you get 12 different double-sided patterns or 24 patterns altogether. So there's just so many options because there's so many patterns, and each one has I call it a B side, right? It has like a more neutral pattern and then a busier pattern on the front. So the B patterns are so versatile that you can use them. You can use them with other things as well. Like, I feel like some of them are pretty versatile that you could even use them with a stamp set that is not specific to being, you know, sea creatures or whatever. Okay, I'm using Blackberry Bliss cardstock for the base. And this is so dark. I'm going to have to go back with a piece of cardstock on the inside so that I can write in it, because it's too dark without it. If you're joining late, the designer paper pieces, we cut them earlier together. These are 5.5 by 1.5 inches. So I got 4 pieces from one 6x6 paper. And then these squares are 3 inches by 3 inches of designer paper, and then layered onto, I used terracotta tile, which is a little bit darker than Calypso Coral, but that layer is 3 1/4 by 3 1/4. So this simple layout, really easy to stamp a whole stack of cards. So that's why I called this a mini stamp-a-stack, because we just did a whole bunch. We stamped a whole stack of cards using the same layout and really strategically and efficiently using our 6x6 designer paper size. That's one I feel like sometimes we struggle with. I know I do anyway. Like some of the traditional cards that I make, my piece of designer paper is more than doesn't cut strategically from a 6x6 paper, and so I end up with these weird leftover pieces. But if you cut into quarters, either by squares that are 3 by 3 or into strips like this that are 1.5 by 5.5 or 6, then you can efficiently use your 6x6 paper. Okay, so then we're just going to do the squares. I'm going a little faster now because I watched through it slower earlier. So if you're tuning in late, you can watch the replay and follow along. And you can pause if you need to. But this part, I'm just making up this extra thing that I had cut. So I'm just doing some speed stamping here. I'm going to make all these cards the same. And going at an angle here. Really love this card combination. The colors are so gorgeous. Okay, and then I punched, this is one of my favorite punches, the Label Me Lovely punch. And so we're going to pick out some stamps. And I was thinking I could do a jellyfish and then some words. I think that'll fit. Oops, I always need lots of thank you cards. In fact, I'm getting ready to send my cards out, my thank you cards for everyone who ordered in September. So I need lots of thank you cards. I'm going to send them next week because I think I said this at the beginning. Today is World Cardmaking Day, and next week is World Card Sending Week. So the idea is that we send cards. This might be too dark. Let me stamp off. That we send cards to everybody on World Card Sending Week. We make them today and send them next week. Okay, so I don't want to get my stamps mixed up. I'm going to make sure this color combination is working. It says, thanks a ton. Oh, that's cute. Yes, yes, yes. I am finding I need to re-ink my Blackberry Bliss though, because I can tell it's getting light. So Calypso Coral is the pink color I'm using, and then Blackberry Bliss is the dark color. So I'm done with the mystery card for today, Carmen, but that is definitely something that we'll do some more of. I have been doing them every other week in my Facebook Lives. So we did not do one this week. So next week on the 8th, we'll do another mystery stamping. So definitely tune in to Thursday Night Stamp Therapy. I'm going to re-stamp that one because it did stamp kind of late. But today was more of like a Stamp-A-Stack, right? Instead of like a mystery card, how's it going to come together? I mean, even though there was that component to it, this was more of a making a bunch of cards together. Okay, so quick Stampin-A-Stack. We're going to use dimensionals on the backs. I'm trying to think of what ribbon I have that would go well. Catherine says she's making her cards and then sending them on Monday, not stretching out the whole week. You know what? You don't need to stretch out the whole week if you got them all ready. But if you don't have them ready and you need more time to stamp and send your cards, then you can take all week. Sometimes my goal is to send them on Monday, but then it ends up being Tuesday or Wednesday. Because I don't know why are Mondays so hard? Why does it take longer on Monday to do things that it shouldn't take that long, I feel like. All right, I used some Whale of a Time sequins on the turtle cards, and they turned out really cute, but I think I'm going to just reach for something simple and do rhinestones on these cards. So I'm going to skip the glue and just add some bling. Ugh. I want to put it closer to the words, I think. Yes. I like that. What do you think? Really quick and easy cards. I'll review again really quick the other cards I made with this design, and then I'm going to share with you those Whale of a Time cards. Okay, somewhere on my messy desk is my full package of rhinestones. Where are they? Well, oops, are they down here? Found them. Okay, yes, I do like the way that turned out. I love the color. So here's the other one. Same layout. I used the sequins. We've got the jellyfish and the turtles. So even though it's the same layout, we got different colors, and I feel like they look like different cards. Don't you think? So we did Wheel of a Time, we did the Snowflakes, and the Moose, all using the same layout, but just changing up the colors makes such a difference. So stamp a whole stack, use up all your paper, and then you'll need more. If you want to get any of the paper that's on sale, you can go to my online store at juliedavison.com/shop and pick up some designer paper that's 15% off. Let me grab this Wheel of a Time, my stack. Not those two. Okay, this is the 6x6 paper. So it comes this way. It comes, you get 4 of each sheet. And some of them have these beautiful scenes like already built in. And then others are just sort of nice backgrounds. We've got these punch out with the whale punch. There's the jellyfish and the seahorses and the turtles. Another one that has like a scene. These also punch out with the big whale does. More turtles. And then the B side are these just beautiful bright colors. I saw somebody that used this paper for a Christmas card. Now that I say it, don't you see it? It looks like snow. Like it looked like it could be a snowy background. So I feel like there is some use for this Wheel of a Time paper beyond just sea creatures. Like this one too. I feel like you could do some fun things with that. That one, that doesn't have to be seaweed. So many gorgeous papers. Okay, so let me share with you some more cards made with this paper. Some of these, like I said, all of these you've seen before. Some of them I've shown on Thursday Night Stamp Therapy and we've done for mystery stamping. Like this one was the cut apart card. And I love this paper. I love these colors together. Pretty peacock and granny apple green on this one. Here's another one we did for mystery stamping because I was obsessed with the whale this summer and I just couldn't stop using it. We've got the big piece back here for the background. This is a double Z fold card. And then this is a bridge card. So you've got like all these panels. And most of it is one sheet, and I kind of just broke it up so it looks like one scene. And then it folds flat, and it fits inside an envelope, but then it opens up, and it has sort of this diorama depth to it. Here's a simple one using the seahorse. And another one using the turtle paper and stamp. So love, 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 love the Wheel of a Time paper. I hope you enjoyed making cards with me today in this little mini Stamp a Stack class. Thank you so much for tuning in, even if you were just watching. Thanks for watching. Thanks for being here. I hope if you did make cards that you will share them in the Julie's Stampin' Spot Share and Connect group so that we can see what you created with this really quick and easy 6x6 paper layout. Have a great World Card Making Day. Happy stamping, happy weekend, and I will catch you next Thursday night at 7:10 p.m. Central Time for Thursday Night Stamp Therapy. Until then, bye!